Yo, so one guys, it's Houston Sports Talk back into the video today. And today we're going to talk about the Houston Astros potentially trading for Charlie Morton, a guy who spent a lot of time with the Astros. The Astros at this point are in a need of starting pitching right now. They've lost Hayden Wesneski, and they've also lost Ronel Blanco for the season. It's been reported that the Astros are looking for a starting pitcher at the trade deadline. I think at the beginning of the year, this is not something the Astros would have thought this was something they would have needed. But with Blanco and both Wisniewski going down, I think it makes it more likely with the Astros, um, you know, go to a pitcher at the deadline. Look, I think in the beginning of the season, Gusto was a really good option for this rotation, but I think Ryan Gusto's really started to struggle. And if I am the Houston Astros, I look to bring him back to the bullpen because this is an interesting fact for Gusto. Gusto's pitched about 10 innings out of the bullpen this year and has yet, even though he's struggled as a starter at times, he has yet to give up an earned run as a bullpen pitcher so far this year. So if I were the Astros, I would look to potentially moving him back to the bullpen after potentially trading for a starter, and once you get Spencer Arrighetti back, which should be around the All-Star break. So All-Star break trade deadline at the same time. If the Astros go after a pitcher at the deadline, maybe Charlie Morton, maybe other guys, and then you get Spencer back at that same time, I think that's where you look to the transition of making Gusto go back to the bullpen. I don't know what happens with Colton Gordon there. I don't know what happens with him after that. I actually haven't been that disappointed with what he's done on the mound. But Charlie Morton, I think, could be a good option. Yes, is he 41 years old? But I think the good thing about the potential Charlie Morton trade is going out there to get a starting pitcher like Charlie Morton. It doesn't seem like it would cost too much. We're talking about a 41-year-old pitcher who's on a 1-year deal. This is a rental. He has had some struggles this year, even though he's been lights out recently. He's had some struggles this year. He has been amazing over his last 22 innings. He's pitched in his last. It's like in his last 4 or 5 outings, has pitched 22 and 1/3, and has only given up 4 runs. His ERA is like 1.63 in his last 4 or 5 outings, going 22 in his last 22 innings and 1/3 of an inning. You look at what he just did today. Went 6 2/3 against the White Sox, no earned runs, 6 hits given up. Against the Orioles in a start, he pitched 6 innings, only 2 earned runs. 4 1/3 against Washington, only 1 earned run. 3 innings against Minnesota, only 1 earned run. So there's been a lot better baseball for Morton recently, and I think that maybe makes things for the Astros maybe wanting to go get him more. But the other interesting thing is I talk about the age and the rental, but here's another thing. The Orioles are clear sellers at this point. They are a team that have already said they are sellers at the trade deadline. That also, helps the Astros' chances of getting a better deal for Charlie Morton. So, and you've got the fact that he had early struggles this season, and that can definitely lead to the point where you could say, well, we don't want to give up a whole lot for a guy who had early struggles this season. And I know, the Orioles might say, well, he's starting to turn around. That's great, but at the same time, he had some early struggles this year. I mean, had 7 strikeouts today in 6 2/3, had 5 strikeouts in 6 innings against St. Louis. 6 strikeouts against Washington, 4 1/3. It has really started to turn his season around. After the terrible start to the year. Look, he and 2024 wasn't terrible, 4.19 ERA in 30 starts. 30 starts in 2023. He actually had a really good year in 2023 and 14 and 12 record, 3.64 ERA, 163 innings giving up, 150 hits, 66 earned runs, 183 strikeouts. 2023 was probably his last, you would say, great, I wouldn't say great, but good year. And this year, I think you started to see that turnaround for Morton. And last year, it definitely wasn't a terrible year. It just wasn't a good year, or a great year. It was a solid year for Morton. But at the same time, we're talking about a guy to come in for the Astros and be. If you're the Astros, you're not asking Morton to come in and be the number 1 or number 2 guy. You might not even be looking at him coming in and being the number 3 guy. Because look, when Spencer Arrighetti comes back, he is the number 3 guy in the rotation next to Hunter and Fromber. And then there's that discussion of former teammates in the rotation of Charlie Morton and Lance McCullers Jr. If you trade for Morton, who's like you're talking about Morton being that fourth or fifth starting pitcher for this Astros team, and that's great. That's fine. That's basically kind of what he is right now for the Orioles, but that just gives the Astros an extra arm in the as a starting option, especially if they're going to be in the playoffs. As a guy that's very experienced in pitching in the playoffs, especially for this Astros team, has pitched in the past. Pitched 6 playoff games for the Astros team. 5 games and 4 starts in their World Series run, 4.24 ERA in the postseason, and in 2017 with a 2-1 record. Was the guy that pitched in the last inning for the Astros in that ninth inning in 2017. He pitched 23 1/3 in the 2017 postseason with 25 strikeouts. He spent 2 seasons with the Astros in 2017, 2018, had 2 really good seasons for the Astros. I mean, look at his win. If you look at his win-loss record for in 2 seasons, was 29-10. It was 15-3. It was an All-Star in 2018. He was 15-3 for the Astros in 2018. 30 starts, 30 games, 3.13 ERA, 167 innings, had 201 strikeouts. Was such an underrated part of the Astros rotation in 2018. One of the best next to putting him next to Justin Verlander, and I believe Garrett Cole was with the Astros in 2018. I believe that was a great rotation the Astros had that year. I don't think Lance might have. I want to say Lance was out that year. But that was Garrett Cole's first year in Houston. He had a 2.88 ERA. Obviously, the Astros had JV, so it was Verlander. You had Cole that year. You had Morton, who was amazing. You had Verlander. I want to say Lance was injured, but I might be wrong. But that was still a great rotation the Astros had in that 2018 season. When they lost the Red Sox in the LCS. But I wouldn't mind a Morton trade at all. You guys let me know your thoughts in the comment section. And peace out. Go Astros.